Yo, what's up? This is Splendid Radio on PharcydeTV. You know what I'm saying? I got my co-host, Jeremy Scipio.
Yo.
I have OG Tajai Massey.
Hey, what's
Massey, Massey or Massey?
Massey. I don't
Massey.
slave name, I don't know what it is. It's Massey, that's what I hear.
Yeah. Nah, man. I had to pull in, last week I had Planet Asia, and then when I was
PA.
You know what? I reminisce so hard on CaliCom. I was like, you know what, man? The next man that popped into my mind, because with Asia, I give him so many props because, man, to be an independent artist and he's constantly making it happen. Constantly, you see him, like him and Razcash. You see dudes like that are constantly moving. And then I only really mess with Instagram. Like I'll post dogs, I'll post food, but I really just hop on it for the show, for that. And then when I do go on, I see, man, on top of your architecture career, on top of your other ambitions, you make time for this hip hop. And I was like, man, I gotta pull Tajai on, man, because he got a point of view that we need to hear, man.
Appreciate you, man. Shit, we go way back. Hell yeah.
Yeah, nah, but the thing is, I'm not saying you're an example because I don't know you like, we know each other hella, but I don't know you like that. But what I will say is you create a cool balance between growth and hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Personal growth in hip hop, where I've seen you go to school while you was like, man, people don't even know it. While you was doing this hip hop thing, you and you know what I'm saying? You guys went to school, you know what I'm saying? You did more than just be part of this cult group, the Souls of Mischief, and the extra cult group Hieroglyphics, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's a trip because a lot of people, they would look at it like, man, you know what? People like my songs. I'm able to hop on the stage here and there. That's enough. But since I've known you, you've always been on the next step. You know what I'm saying? Like your vision. You know what I'm saying? It's just so crazy. And I'll say this, and then we'll hop into the thizzle. But going with Brown to you guys' warehouse up in Oakland, dude, that changed my life, man.
Oh wow!
Like when I say it changed my life, screen printing machines purchased, printing out my back house, till now I got we have the big warehouse.
Yeah.
But basically, Brown had been up there before I had been up there, and Brown's story to me was just like, dude, it was just boxes everywhere, man. just records and T-shirts and all kinds of stuff, and it's crazy because it was kind of like I felt like you guys were doing what kind of like rock bands did, like the rock bands who had kind of learned from the kind of have learned a little bit from the label. They run through a couple of budgets and whatnot, and instead of you guys just totally relying on a label to do whatever, you guys took a lot of it into your own hands. You know what I'm saying? With first of all having your own office, home base, getting your own wax press, your own merch. Before CaliCom, it's like you guys weren't scared to hop on the road. We wasn't scared to hop on the road. Me and Ope had a conversation where we said, man, I won't mention no group names, but we was like, dude, guys don't have the stomach for this, man. They don't have the stomach to hop on a bus and then go from city to, because back then you had to do like 20 shows to kind of make it work. You know what I'm saying?
20, 40, 60. Yeah.
Man. So with all that said, man, I just had to get that out of my system, man. That was just something that was on me, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited I got you on. But tell me this, when was the first time you heard hip hop?
Shit, man, probably The Message, something like that, Oh no, I mean Rapper's Delight, I would say. And I didn't, for a long time we didn't know that it was like a whole movement. I was little, I was born in 75, so that's what, 82 or something, or 79. I was little. So I didn't really know much about Cold Crush and Busy Bee and Treacherous 3 and, you know, all that stuff that I think cats that are a little bit older, like Domino or something, knew about. So to me, it was just something that I heard, and it was more like, this is different. Like, oh, this is different. And I've been friends with A+ and Casual probably since that era, you know, and they really the ones who were just like, yeah, this is what we finna do. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. I'll do it too, you know. I mean, I'm fortunate though that your friends, you know, a lot of times your friends pressure you to do something negative. They pressure me into doing something. They push me into greatness, you know. And I'll probably say since not necessarily Rapper's Delight, but since the message, we've been serious about rapping, you know.
What age would you say that was?
7, 8 years old.
8 years old. You was serious about rapping at 8 years old.
A+ and Casual was serious about rapping. I was serious about doing what my friends did, you know? So I've never been like, it's never been like my dream to be a rapper, but I was around cats, so that was it. This is it. This is what we're gonna do. And I'm not about to be the odd man out, you know, kick, you know, on the kick it, you know, but I mean, that also is translated to me now doing a lot of other things beyond rap or in addition to rap. And so, you know, I'm in a peer group that allow for that balance, but I'm talking about from 83 on, A+ focus. Like, this is what we're gonna do. We gotta go to the studio. We got, you know, like our first demo, we were probably 11, 12. And then our first demo with like Jinx and all that, we were 13, you know, recorded down in LA and everything with Sir Jinx and Dell and, you know, Cube was first, you know, really bubbling and stuff. So we've been serious for a long time. Like, but I'll say, of course, Rapper's Delight would be the, you know, the thing that started off.
Nah, that's tight. So in junior high school, who was the hardest group out when you guys were in junior high?
Junior high. Ooh, what is that? 86, 86. So junior high for me was 86 to 88. So that was when, you know, Biz, right? It started EPMD, Eric B and Rakim. You know, that to me the best years. I think 88 and 89 are the best years of hip hop, like the peak thus far.
I was born in 88.
Wow, it was a great year. That was a fantastic year. So I would say Eric B and Rakim, EPMD, NWA, of course. You know, whatever else was big, Public Enemy. You know, that's probably when I got into high school. I think Gangsta Gangsta came out right when I got into high school, like 9th grade.
Real quick to spin the record back. So were you down with Dale at the time that he's wrote, was it Children's Story or whatever he was doing with Ice?
Gangsta's Fairy Tale and all the yo-yo, a lot of yeah. I've been friends with Dale since elementary school. So before we were even on, but we've been rapping, like we've been into it since then. You know, like before, I'm talking about, I remember when Cube was in CIA and that was just like Dale's cousin, like before he was Ice Cube from NWA.
Wow. So why'd y'all name the group Hieroglyphic?
So there was a dude who used to go to the same studio as us. And I remember, I think his name was Upstairs, the Common Denominator. Everybody had a name and then the. You know what I'm saying? No, Del the Funky Homo Sapien, you know, Sophia the Saucy Nomad, you know, that was just that era. And his name was Upstairs, the Common Denominator. And he just had this concept of a crew called Hieroglyphics. And he ended up not using it. Del was like, we'll use that, you know. But he's real cool. I think he was from England. Okay. We used to all go to this place called the Onion Lab. And so that's how we really started making our real demos. He had an SP there and a 4-track. And we used to get loose on the SP and the 4-track. Yeah.
Tell me about your symbol too. I got a couple of y'all stickers still from that day.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, the symbol is basically, we used to be called the Mad Circle. So we were a mad face. The Onyx came out with the mad face and Dub C and them took the Mad Circle. And you know, who's gonna say something to Dub C? You know, like, come on now. Right. but so then Dale added the third eye and the mouth. And actually, if you look in Dale's first video, it had a nose. So it was 3 eyes, a nose, and a mouth. But he got rid of the nose and refined it. And ever since his his first record. This has been the symbol, and we found out later it's like a Mayan hieroglyph, and the line is like a 5, and the 3 eyes are ones. So, but it's normally this way. So normally with the line is vertical, and 3 dots. So it means 8. So if you turn it to the side, that's an infinity. You know. So
Okay.
and it also is a symbol that means a harmonic resonance. So it has a lot. You know, it's like a third eye open, as above, so below. Like it's not smiling or mad. It's just stern faced and harmonic resonance. 8, infinity, all those things. 8 dudes in the crew. You know, so it took on more meaning than we even really understood it. I mean, you know, now you see it on tattoos, and you know, we hop off airplanes and see it on the wall in different places. It's like Fight Club or something, like a secret society. You know?
Right.
Dude, that me knowing you guys, I'll say I take a lot of joy. I mean, I've seen 2 PHARCYDE tattoos. One, we were at Yoshi's, the one that was in San Francisco before they closed the big one. Yep. And a dude popped up backstage, man. And I mean, he had Bizarre right on his whole back, man.
Oh, wow.
It was like on his whole back. And it was funny because in one way it's like, dang, you know what I'm saying? That's a lot of conviction. But then another way it's like, man, he took that very serious. You know, he took that very.
Well, that was a seminal record for a lot of people, you know. And then also I've been playing the second album a lot lately, you know, D and you know, all that stuff, man. But that time was just a special time, I think. And it was a time that was more innocent. I mean, pre-internet and hip hop was one family, you know, like even across genres, like, you know, NWA, Too Short, Hammer. Like I've been to a concert where it was Heavy D, Grandmaster Fast and the Furious 5, Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, NWA and Hammer, same stage. And I remember Hammer coming out during NWA set and grooving while they was doing the Boys in the Hood or whatever. So rap was a family. So it's a different, you know, that time is like the end of those times. And then when things started splitting off to West Coast, and this is hardcore, this is backpack, this is super lyrical, you know. And so I think it means a lot to a lot of people. I mean, especially that you know, the first album, and then they had the whole artwork and everything. Like that's just a dope image, period, you know.
I was at the farmer's market on Sunday. Shout out to Caesar Xanadu, you know what I'm saying? He hooked me up with the microgreens, you know what I'm saying? He got me on my microgreens, you know what I'm saying? A little something extra in there when I spend a little bread. But I saw a guy wearing a fuck shirt.
Oh, wow.
And so Fucked was Slick and Dan, which was the collaboration that did the PHARCYDE album. And homeboy had a classic shirt on. It was worn and everything. I was like, dang. And then one way I wanted to ask him where he got it from, but then I was like, man, just respect the art, man. You see, you know what I'm saying? You see he's out here OG. Yeah. So my question to you is that did you guys, when the Souls got together, what was it that made you guys just want to take the super independent route to because like to me, you guys were my forerunner into the, like a lot of people could say like, well, yo, man, I was under Andre Harrell, or I was, you know, I saw this or I saw that. But for me, when Brown and I kind of got into, after the whole Delicious thing had went south or whatever, like how we were going to make the next moves, you guys were like that, you were that independent kind of situation that wasn't like a E40 or like a Too Short, or like you were like, I'll say definitely the forerunners on the West Coast for an independent movement. How did that come about?
What's crazy is it came about because we grew up where Too Short and E40 are from, you know, and also the whole Jello Biafra, that movement, like India is where it's at. And we had really strong record stores. We had shitty radio. We still got shitty radio. we had really strong. I mean, shout out to the Wake Up Show, which was our 1.5 hours, 2 hours a night, a week, that you would get rap, like hip hop, like hip. And I mean, not hip hop versus rap, just rap music in general that wasn't pop. But because we grew up watching guys really excel by selling records to the stores directly through the mom and pops, all that, I think it gave us heart to do it ourselves. So I do, you know, you do got to credit Too Short and you know, and I mean there's a lot of other small labels out here, but Too Short, E40, and Jello Biafra, I would say, as far as the Bay, just from the punk scene to the hip hop scene. They was like, yo, you don't need a major label in order to survive. And even though we didn't get a lot of radio, we got people would buy our records. So, you know, there was a time when we first were independent that we were taking the records to the stores. I mean, I've bought a house off that shit. You know what I'm saying? Though, like literally like taking records to stores and selling them after I get off stage. You know? So I mean, and this was, you know, this is a time when music was a product, you know, like you make a CD, it's 69 cents, you sell it for $10. That's still cheaper than the 17 that the store is charging. Everybody's happy, and you'll sign it, you right there, it's you. I mean, there's tours where I made way more money off of selling my CDs than we did as a group from the performances, you know?
Hey man, I'll say it like this, man. We never made a whole bunch of money off of merch, but we sold some merch, or we sell some merch, you know what I'm saying? But I say this, you one of those groups, like me, I'm not an MC. I don't know what it is to step on stage after somebody just hopped on stage and they just lit it up and you got to go out there, whatever. But I know if we're doing a show at Hiero, I know I probably don't need to bring 2 duffel bags of merch. I need to bring one and a little change over that one, because you guys have a cult following. So tell me this: did the cult following come from Hieroglyphics or Souls of Mischief? Like, when did you first notice that people were like you were a thing to people beyond just?
I think Hieroglyphics, really, you know. I think as Souls of Mischief, of course, we were a thing to, I think, a lot of people, you know, musicians and just cultural movement. But I think when they were like, yo, and they got Dell and they got Casual and, you know, Pep Love, and these dudes have been friends their whole lives, and you know, there's a lot of mystery shrouding our origins and all these things, especially pre-internet, right? Because people would just see you perform, they'd see your videos, and that's it. You had maybe 1 or 2 interviews a year, right, in the source or rap pages or something. But there was no outlet for hip hop. You know, even radio, they would talk to us for 2 seconds and then play the record. So I think that the symbol sort of like, you know, the Egyptian concept, and it's just mysterious, and it just meant something bigger than us as a crew, Souls of Mischief, and then bigger than us as a crew, Hieroglyphics. So I'll say our cult following started really happening maybe 97, 98. So we had been out about 4 years, which is crazy now because that's still 23 years ago. Like we went indie in 1995. So I've been indie. We came out in 1993. We put 2 records out. You know, Dell put 2 records out, or 2 records out. Casual put 1 out, and then we went indie in 95. Right? From 95 to now is 25 years. So we only had 3 years of not really being indie. The rest of the time, and we're way bigger now than we were back then. Like, of course, we're not way bigger mainstream, but as far as worldwide, like hip hop is just bigger. Like we weren't in no movies. I mean, we were in Low Down Dirty Shame, but that's because the label promoted it, you know. But I'm saying now, I mean, you were in commercials, movies, Gatorade, you know. I mean, all kinds of stuff. So, because it represents a time period, and it's crazy how we can be so much bigger now without mainstream traction than we were before. You know, when we were on MTV and Soul Train and Rap City and Yo MTV Raps and, you know, in Living Color and all that.
But I remember this, man. I remember you guys did one Hiero album, and it was an independent album, and you had a little bit of BET and a little bit of you know, you had a little bit of BET and some MTV play. So in the world of payola and this, that, and the third, I don't want you to, you know, give us all the secrets, but how did you guys end up on MTV and BET, like when you were just totally independent? Like really, like
man, I gotta credit Domino, man. Like really leveraging relationships, you know, and being like, yo, you know, talking to Big Tigger or talking to Joe Claire, and him being like, I'd like to do a show on y'all with y'all in Cali, and Domino being like, look, we'll buy the plane tickets and fly out to Virginia, because we had already done it with you know, whoever else before. But we really, Domino saying, hey, we got to hit the road. We're not, you know, maybe we'll get on TV. If we do, cool. But if not, at least we're going to show our faces in all these places. So we were hitting the album release party circuit, and, you know, hitting the Tunnel and SOs and, you know, Unity and whatever, in all these different places, and making sure that we were seen. And then because we had built these relationships prior to being dropped from the labels, it's just people, right? It's all a network of people. And so, and then I think our production value was still on the same level. It wasn't like we went underground and all of a sudden we back to slinging dubs of tapes. We went underground, but we're still recording in the same studio. We're increasing we're investing in our equipment, investing in mixing and mastering, filming videos on film, shooting pictures, I guess on film, which was the only way back then. But the quality level didn't drop, even though the backing did. And I think that's big. But I gotta give 100% credit, like, to the whole crew for following somebody's vision, but for Domino for being the visionary who's like, yo, we're gonna do it this way. Because I remember us being like, man, we should just get a deal, get some bread. There's some bullshit. We in 2 vans, We in New York. Where's our car? You know what I'm saying? It took him being like, look, it's gonna pay off. And in the end, it did pay off. I mean, back then, Third Eye Visions probably sold 200,000 copies, indie. You know what I'm saying? Sold like that's some tickets. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's one of my favorites. Man.
So yeah, so I give that all up to God.
Tell us a little bit about Hiero Day.
Oh, Hiero Day, is so basically one time we were on the internet in 2012 and we were on tour or something, and then somebody was like, some fan, I wish I knew the person's name because they freaked it. They were like 9/3 should be Hiero Day. So like September 3rd, and every Hiero Day, what you do is you wear your Hiero gear and you play the Hiero music and convert some disciples to the Hiero cult, And then 9/3 happened to be Labor Day that year in 2012, and since the world was ending anyways, right?
I remember that.
We were like, yo, we're gonna have a party, right? So we decided to have a block party, and it started off at a couple hundred, 300, but by the time it was done, it was 4,000 or 5,000 people there. People were on top of buildings looking down, and all the food had sold out from every one of the vendors and all that kind of stuff. So we decided to make it annual, and it's been annual every year on Labor Day here. The mayor's even declared it a Oakland holiday, and it's just it's great to be able to have a platform, because this is post Rock the Bells, right? No more Rock the Bells, no more paid dues. We've done Coachella maybe 4 times, but Coachella's leans to what's hot at the time. They have a great selection, not to knock Coachella, but those, the Coachellas and Outside Lands and all those sort of other festivals, Umbershoot and all that stuff caters to a different crowd, So it's good to be able to have a platform for sort of urban music, and we've had everybody from PHARCYDE to Pete Rock to Benny the Butcher in Conway to Kehlani to what's the brother's name, Anderson .Paak, when he was in No Worries, and it's good to be able to have that variety and be able to showcase it, and it's just a big party, man. We don't really be making no money from it, but the culture, I think, benefits from it. And I hate the term the culture, but I mean literally like the street culture. We have a skate contest, a graffiti contest. We got the food, the street food. My mom and Akira's book club does like a reading and literacy type thing with my youngest daughter for the kids. We have free haircuts, back to school giveaway stuff. So to me, it's a very important part of Oakland culture. And it's frustrating this year to not be able to do it in a live way, but we did it virtually. We probably got 30,000 people come through, and that's also awesome just to see that it's still viable even without it being a physical place. But next year is the 10th year now. We're gonna try to go crazy, like hopefully it'll be, something special.
Nah, that's tight. I'll say this, man. I've been to 2, and the first one I went to, the PHARCYDE performed, and I met OG Mike, the Pop Locker.
Oh wow, okay.
The white dude, and I was like, dang, and I was like, dude, he's the dude from he's the dude from YouTube and whatnot. He pops with Pop and Taco and like the OGs. And he's like a, probably, he's not 70, but I say he's a good 65.
He's up there, yeah. He's up there.
He's still popping, and I was like, dang. And when I saw him, he was dancing next to my booth, but he wasn't really busting no moves, but he was just kind of playing with it. And I was like, oh, nah, there's somebody different right here. And I was like, okay. And then across the street from me was the cannabis vendor. So you had you went to one thing and you got checked in and ID'd and whatever, and then you went to the other thing and then you could pick up your cannabis. But I'll say that the proudest moment that I had was I was following some of the press leading up to the show that the PHARCYDE did, and I saw you guys on the news, and to just see the news embrace you guys, like your local news, like really embrace you guys and give you the forum, and they were kind of like, this is, you know, these guys are doing the right thing. I was kind of proud of you guys, man. That was a real good look.
Man, I appreciate it. It's always good to be embraced by our community and to be on our own terms. That's really, I think, the important part as far as the example we're setting, because I don't think that this is something that couldn't happen everywhere, you know, but it's about having that pedigree of being entrenched in the community and having this sort of long-standing history and executing it the right way, you know, as far as proper security and making sure the older folks is taken care of and free, the kids is free, you know, having proper water, and these are things we learned over the years, but it becomes an asset to the city over the years. You know, I mean, Oakland now, HYRODAY is part of Oakland now, and Oakland now is very different than the Oakland we grew up in, but we used to grow up with this thing called the Festival at the Lake, and I think HYRODAY is the closest thing to the Festival at the Lake now that we have, because they canceled that.
I heard about a festival at the Lake, and I heard it was very hypey, man. I heard it was very hypey and dumb and all type of other Bay Area terminology.
Yeah, it used to go. Yeah, it was popping. It was popping. Hell yeah.
Nah, that's tight. So tell me this: did when you went to high school, was there any MCs or athletes that ended up kind of, other than the Hieroglyphic Crew, that ended up kind of shining out of where you come from?
So the Loonies, they're like maybe a year or so younger. Latif from Latyrics. So Latif and Lyrics Born. Yeah. They went to school. I went to school with Latif, and then what's his name? Festo went to school with Lyrics Born. That's really it, you know, like the rest are either younger or a little bit older, you know. But yeah, it's funny. The Bay Area is full of talent, but no industry. So, you know, like, and everybody's in their little separate cliques, which is funny because it's small. It's not like LA where I could do 2 shows, maybe 3 shows in LA in one day. You know, you do one in the IE, you do one downtown, you do one on the west side, 3 different crowds. The Bay is.
That's why you guys do it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Got the man waiting, so you step on the stick. Gotta get this other bread.
Yeah, you can't really do that in the Bay, man. It's one thing happening or whatever. Now I think with the small bars and smaller venues, it's kind of cool. But not many guys really came out from that era. Tony. I know Elijah went to school with A+'s older sister, but they're a little bit older than us. But, you know, not a lot. I mean, when you think about Bay rap, that's big. I mean, like national level is us, 40 and Short, really, right? I mean, I guess Clarence Club because Drake. So Forte because, you know, Mac Dre. But I think unfortunately he's bigger in death than in life, you know, and that's sad because he was a gem, you know, but unfortunately sometimes cats don't get their roses till they pass. But I think he actually was a catalyst, a cultural catalyst out here, and a lot of what people see of as Bay is innovated directly from Mac Dre, you know.
Yeah, I remember my experience with hip hop. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio originally, but it's so funny because when people ask me about like what type of cultures there, what influenced you, like, you know, looking back, I could say more like, obviously, I don't know, some people associate with the South for some reason, but my mom, my family's originally from New York. Well, before that, like Greensboro, Greensboro, Alabama, whatever. But New York, a lot of that culture influenced me the most, I would say. But I don't know, Bay culture was always like, I don't know, like I didn't take E40 seriously until like way late. When I moved out here, people were like, yo, Nick, give me your top 5 MCs. and they'd be like E40, E40, E. Like what? Like no, like no, not the Izzle guy. You know what I mean?
It's an acquired taste, but I feel like if you grew up listening to 40, you'd be a lot better off than if you grew up listening to Jay-Z. If you know what I'm saying though, like as far as what game is in the music, you know.
I agree. Like the Bay culture is so rich. I mean, it's if anything, it's kind of funny how influential it is, but not as acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? And,
absolutely, I know what you're saying. You listen to music right now, and it's like you listen to City Girls. Their stuff is dope. Half their stuff sound like old Bay records. You listen to Saweetie, or you listen to YG, or you listen to a lot of the stuff. What's the other guy? Yo Gotti. A lot of that stuff is like T.I. A lot of it's like, damn, these is Bay records, and not to diss them because they took them and ran with them and took them. But like you said, very influential, but not acknowledged. But I will say the rappers and the people within the culture acknowledge it. It's more like just general people don't understand that. Okay, this is a Bay record, you know.
Well, I had to be walked to it. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, you know, somebody tells you something, you go like, huh, and then next you know, you find out like the Snoop Izzle language, you know, he got from E40. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that he's made global, but you know, it came from there.
I mean, even to be prior to 40, that came from not being the feds, not being able to understand. You know, like a lot of the lingo in the Bay, like the streets kind of run. You know what's going on, so it's kind of dense and hard to unpack. And maybe that's the reason why people can crack it open a little bit, and then fools are like, "Oh, now I get it." But that's never somebody from the Bay. That's usually somebody from the South or LA or the Midwest. You know. Like even with the whole jerking and all that, like I'm like, damn, this is the Bay, but LA took it and ran with it and made it. They bumped it up to the next level. But all the people in that community always gave it up to Bay artists and Bay dancers and stuff like that. It's never been something from inside where they're not like, I ain't gonna tell you where the secret sauce is from. It's just that everybody in the world doesn't know where the sauce is from. You know?
Right. Yeah.
It's an acquired taste too. It's an acquired taste. I can't. If somebody's like, I don't fuck with 40, I get it. But I'm just kind of like, you might want to fuck with 40.
Between Short and 40, they like I think they got the most albums out of any rapper ever. So they really shortchanging themselves.
And they pocketing that money. And if you listen to what they're telling you on the albums, you'll be able to navigate not just the streets, but just like regular life. A lot less heartache, a lot more good stories and good takeaways than bumping your head against stuff. I think hip hop to a large extent sells a fantasy, and I don't think Short and 40 are into selling fantasies. I mean, everything's embellished, but man, I feel so happy I grew up on Too Short and E40. You know, I mean, 40's kind of I messed with later, but in my 18 on up. But Short, I've been listening to since I was 8 or 9 years old. You know, so it's just like the perspective that he sort of injected us with helped a lot with interpersonal relationships, with not being surprised that women act a certain way, and
I like the way you're putting this, by the way. That's like the nicest way to describe, especially Too Short's music. That is the most polite way. I don't think he would describe the music like that. That's funny.
Same with 40 though, for navigating the streets, really. You listen to a 40 record, you know what I'm saying, though? You like it's really like a book of game. Like he's telling you, okay, don't do that. And then, if you go shoot him something, make sure you get half up front, just like little stuff where you like, damn, that might have saved somebody's life if they really were listening to that word like gospel. And then I think a lot of the rappers, other rappers, they put out the highs. G-Rap puts out the highs and the lows. You know what I'm saying? Those certain guys put out the highs and the lows, and I think that's more believable. But a lot of rappers just put out the highs, and that's, I think, almost more dangerous than I mean, it's like fantasy, but since they're passing it off as real, it's more dangerous than the fantasy.
Yeah, I think that's it depends on the type of consumer you are. I'm more of an album consumer. So like, if you dive in, you're gonna get more of the story. But if you're just into the singles, you're just gonna get one side, just the glorifying.
And the singles are usually all fantasy,
Yeah. But I was gonna say, Chris Riggins is my tour guide when I'm in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? Like that's somebody I gotta check. You know, people say I gotta check in. Like if I go to the Bay, I don't check in with Chris, he gonna have a problem. I was gonna say, how
you gonna have a whole bunch of studs on your helmet.
Hey,
hey, for real.
But I was gonna say, how'd y'all link up with Chris?
Man, Chris been the homie for hella long, man. He's been a opener, tour manager, all that kind of stuff, you know, driver, all that kind of stuff, man. And like we were talking about earlier, man, to me, comedy is almost the illest frontier for, you know, I don't want to disregard other cultures, but for Black culture, like when you talk about underground and you talk about street and you talk about talent and you talk about working a crowd and you know, Chitlin circuit and these types of things, you know, it's probably blues and comedy, I think, are, and maybe jazz, but jazz, you go to the club, nobody look like you, the people performing, right? Yeah. But like comedy, only thing I think that comes close to it is maybe skateboard, to where it's like, yo, you can't just be like, I got a skateboard, I'm a skater. You really got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Though? And that's the same with comedy. Like you can't not be funny. And so, I mean, you can say you're a comedian, but you're not going to last that long not being funny, you know? And so I feel like his story and how he moves and operates is kindred to how we do it. Sort of ground up, hard scrabble kind of, what would I call that? Working class ethic and making sure that everything is tight, everything is straight. We bring in the funny the same way we trying to bring the lyrics, and at the end of the night, everybody's walking away a fan. And that's comedians got to navigate that shit. And as I was saying earlier, like the same way they say hip hop will tell you, it's like hood CNN and it'll tell you everything about something. You know, comedy touches all aspects of culture because you got to touch everybody in the crowd, right? And so that means you got to deal with the dances, and you got to deal with interpersonal relationships, and you got to deal with politics, and you got to deal with, you know, drugs and all these different things that I think you find the common connection. And so Chris, to me, I mean, he like, that's family. Like that, you know, like that's the homie, but that's family. It's deeper than just, oh, this is my partner that be telling jokes, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, when I first met him, we clicked instantly. Like honestly, like I don't even know what about him. I just was like, you understand, like getting on stage, getting stage time, that's like a hard thing. Like even me, somebody just walk up to me and be like, hey, you know, I want to get on your stage, I want to perform with you, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, who are you? You know, blah, blah, blah. Like, I mean, maybe you never know. So one of these said, Chris, it was just like, I was like, yo, you want to perform? He was like, yeah. Like that. I ain't know like he was so into the culture. I ain't know we both were open for Dave Chappelle at that time. We had so much, we just clicked. And it benefited me because when I came to the Bay, I wasn't no stranger, you know what I mean? Like he took me around. So that's why I was like, yo, and then he introduced me to y'all. So I thought that was dope.
Nah, yeah, he's a good guy, man. And you know, an asset to our community out here, you know.
I'll tell you something funny, man. So I heard that Chris was a comedian. I work with Slink Johnson. So Slink had told me he just left too. He's headed out on a little road trip. He's gonna be hitting some clubs. You know what I'm saying?
That's dope.
Check him out, Slink Johnson on IG. But yeah, just saw him a few minutes ago. But the crazy thing was, I knew Chris as it's so crazy because if you look at Crush Groove and you see kind of how like Russell Simmons and like you got this young, hungry, you know, manager, and he's working with rappers and everything. That's what I know of Chris. Like Chris was managing Jern I at the.
Oh wow!
I met him. So, like to hear him doing comedy is like, it is as amazing as me knowing that you're an architect. And but not on this thing, but just like, dang, because you know, I remember Chris coming, and Chris would call me up a couple weeks before we come into town to do a show, and he'd be like, yo man, can you get Jern on, man? What's up? And Jern had my number. I know Jern, you know what I'm saying? But Jern wasn't gonna call me. The manager was gonna call me, doing it the way it's supposed to be done. So then Chris would call me. So then we built a little relationship on that. But then Jeremy had mentioned Chris Riggins a couple times, but it didn't click. And then I came up to the Bay with Slink the Hyro day before last, and Chris came by the booth, and he said, I was like, yo, what's up, Schmooche? And I looked at him, I'm like, so you're the guy that everybody's
like, oh, it's you. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's dope though. It's good to know people in different contexts too.
Yeah.
Because he's super talented comedian. That's what's funny to me. Like, he's hella funny, you know. Like, I'm like, damn, oh, you really do this? Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Nah, you know, it's a trip because it's kind of like, okay, if we look at the comedians that are at the, you know, at the top of the mountain right now, somewhat urban comedians, not saying hood comedians, but just saying, you know, not straight edge comedy or whatever, but more comedy that's a little rough, you know what I'm saying? A little rough. Yeah. We don't have too many, you know what I'm saying? And you have guys like Slink, you have guys like Jeremy, you have guys like Chris. And I'm telling you, the funny thing about Jeremy, I met Jeremy and had him come on to the show because he's a comedian, but I hadn't heard any of his comedy, but I knew he was talented just from the very first conversation we had. So Jeremy's thing was, when I was trying to get hosts, he'd be like, oh man, he's my homeboy, I can get him. Oh man, he's my homeboy, I can get him. But the funny thing about it is, the dudes who he was saying was his homeboy really is homeboys. Yeah. Like, we were out in front of the Comedy Store one night, and it was late. It was like my first time seeing stand-up comedy in a while, because I was kind of jaded because I had went to see one of everybody's favorite comedians. Won't name him, but the PHARCYDE has shows in Colorado. We were stranded on the tarmac for like 40 minutes. We get to LA, I get picked up from the airport, and then I get carted off to this, what I thought was gonna be the funniest thing in the world. Dang. The comedian told the same joke, like, they were taping it. So he told the same joke like 3 times, whatever. And it just sucked everything out of me. And I was like, man, comedy, I don't have the patience for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can watch like a Richard Pryor or Eddie Murphy or something like that, but I just don't have the patience. So Jeremy was like, nah, man, come out and, you know, check it out or whatever. So I go out to the little situation, and I'm back, and I'm sitting with him, and I'm seeing the people go on, and the people going on before him, it was crazy because it's like the crowd was ready to just laugh at anything, but the guys just couldn't pull it out. And I was just like, dang, how do you fail when you got an audience that's like, they ready? So then Jeremy, he finishes his drink, he goes up on stage, whatever, kills it, gets off the stage, comes, sits back down, is like, yeah, man, I really wasn't feeling on. And I'm like, dude, like, you gave people what they wanted. Like, you're like, man, you succeeded. You gave what they wanted. So we leave, and we walk down to the front of the venue, and Brown, his girl was working with she had said, you know what, you might want to get this guy JD Witherspoon and, you know, have him on the show or whatever. We're working with him right now. He's a real cool dude. He's funny, blah 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 blah. I'd never heard of him or whatever. But I'm standing out in front of Jeremy and I went to go and get a slice of pizza. We walked back, and so this guy walks up to Jeremy, and they're talking, but he really hadn't introduced himself at that time, and they're talking, and then the guy goes into character, and he starts imitating his dad. And so I'm just listening to the voice, and I'm like, dude, I know exactly who you are, whatever. And I'm like, dude, you John Witherspoon's son. And I was like, yo, my business partner's girl, blah, 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 blah. And it was JD Witherspoon. And the crazy thing about it, him and Jeremy sat and they talked for about a good 10 minutes or whatever. And I was like, man, Jeremy do know, you know, he does know, like
he wasn't lying.
Nah, he wasn't lying. So nah, Jeremy's a good dude. It's a trip how the degrees of separation have him working with Chris, as well as Slink working with Chris, and then you working with Chris. Yeah. And then you know, kind of very proud of me to just kind of sit back and say, man, this kid, he's not a kid because he's an adult, but like, man, I saw Chris when he was just hungry, just going for management, and then to just see the transition in the comedy to where like he's kind of the mayor of the Bay for urban comedy, so to speak. Like, no, he's the mayor, man. I gotta give it to him, where he can move people around. You know, that's amazing. So tell me this, Tajai, if you were to give anybody some advice that was trying to get their first, they're trying to do music to get paid, what would be the advice that you would give them?
Get a job so that you don't got to worry about getting paid off your music. I've had a job every day of this shit since day one.
Wow.
Every day. Every single day, though. I mean, it's a couple times where I might have been between jobs and then rapping was kind of what I was doing. But for the most part, if I wasn't in school, I had a job. So I would say get a job. That's me, though. That's not, other people will be like, well, how can you work your plan A if you always working your plan B? But for me, I like things, and I had babies early. You know what I'm saying, though? So it wasn't a like, you can't be broke. You know what I'm saying, though? So get a job and let the music shit work itself out. And then when you get your money, since we get our money in lumps, like, invest that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying, though? Like, how, and you know, flip it. You know, whether you want to play the pyramid game or whether you want to go buy you some work or whatever you want to do, flip that shit. Like, money is not, it's worthless unless it's moving. You know, like, I'm not a saver. That don't mean that I'm in my older age, I'm learning to have a cushion, but I be trying to make my money work. Like, so always have a job and then invest. So 3 things, like I said, get a job, invest your money, you know, get a job so that your music or your art is not necessarily what you got to eat off of. And save your money and then invest your money, and including, if you believe in yourself, invest your money in yourself. You know, like, I'm about to film a movie next weekend for a record that I put out 2 years ago, but I believe that the record needs to be seen in this manner. And when you think about it, nobody looks at the release date 30 years from now. They're just like, remember that movie? And hopefully I'll be alive 30 years from now, still making royalties from that movie, you know? So that's kind of, you just got to invest in yourself. But I wouldn't recommend anybody do this in the world of, there's no value to what we do. I mean, I understand cultural value, but I'm talking about, and cultural currency, I'm talking about actual hard dollars. We do some of the most valuable shit. We keeping this shit together. Imagine if they cut out comedy or they cut out hip hop. Nigga, this motherfucker would be burning this motherfucker down, dude. We be burning it down, right? So what we're doing,
politicians.
Yeah, man. So what we're doing is important and valuable. And then don't twist it too. Don't twist valuable with the money part of it. You know what I'm saying, though? Because really, honestly, you determine your own value. And
valuable, man.
And if you don't, that means if you determine your own value, are you worthy of being invested in? If so, be your biggest investor. You know, and put your money where your mouth is. I understand in the money game, other people's money is important, but if we're in something where other people can't find value in what we're doing enough to put the money behind it, somebody has to, because you have to get yourself seen. So that might mean pay for your own tour. You know what I'm saying, though? That might mean press your own records or your own t-shirts. That might mean, you know, pay for some search engine optimization on the computer, or pay for some features, or pay for a movie or a video that you need to, but invest in yourself. But I worked from 8 to 5 today. Then I went into jiu-jitsu class, and then I'm here. We doing this. This is all things, you know, I don't see them as separate. You know, they're all going to one thing, you know?
Right.
You know what? I'm the same way. I feel like, you know, when I start going out on the road and you come back home with a lump sum of money, whether it was big or whether it was little, I was like, man, my first investment really off of hip hop, buying some dogs, starting the breeding program that I wanted to start. You know what I'm saying? And just like, man, you know what? You know, a lot of people are like, oh man, you know, you got to have people take care of your dogs when you go out of town and woo. But dude, honestly, I'll say with the exception of the last 2 years, I made like 6 G's off of every litter that I've had since like 99. You know what I'm saying? Like literally like 9.
I need to get into dogs. I'm about to breed me some Scottish pit bulls.
What's the name of? I don't know if it was Morgan Freeman or somebody said everything you look at is $1 billion industry, not $1 million industry, $1 billion industry. Whether it's Zoom, whether it's the blinds behind you, whether it's your couch, the laptop you're on, this symbol that's behind us is $1 billion industry. Paper cups, rolling papers, you know what I'm saying? Though paper clips, tacks, you know what I mean? Like tooth whitening. So really, if you invest and really push it how you need to, the money will come. So I know you probably your first litter may not have hit how you wanted to, but you made your little tweaks and everything, and now hey, it's rolling. And then life is long too. I mean, I think we've been deprogrammed or programmed, whichever you want to call it, to believe that our life is not, you know, as Black men, we're not gonna live a long time. And so we gotta live for the moment. We do momentary shit. You know, and this is not to knock brothers. We all have dreams and hopes and are able to think beyond that. But to a large extent, they put this sort of blinders on them so that we're not looking at in terms of a 10-year cycle, 50-year cycle, 100-year cycle, 200-year cycle. And I think if you start thinking on that level, you start seeing the little cracks in the matrix and stuff where you're like, damn, if I just put this little couple dollars here, in 20 years, I'm gonna have this, and I'm not gonna need this until 20 years. And that's kind of how I've been with my education and with my investments. It's like, I don't care about being broke as long as my money is moving. Like, I don't care at all. Like, I go to Costco, drop a rack at Costco. I'm good for 3 months. All my money's going out the door. All of my money is going out the door. My babies is full. My lady is good. My house note is paid and everything. All the rest of the dough is going out the door. You know, and hopefully it may not come back in that 3 months that I bought groceries for, but that 4th month, something's about to hit and it's going to trickle back in. And that's just how I operate. Because I'm not like, I've been fortunate. Like, I came out at what, 18 as a world famous rapper. So I don't have the need to like have a Maserati or have a big ass chain or stun or none of that, because we've already lived that life, right? So now and then during the time when it was big, like when we was big, the tight car was like a Jetta or a Sterling. You know what I mean? Or, you know, like a Caddy. It wasn't no McLaren or no Bugatti or nothing. So, you know, we were able to, these are attainable goals, right? Yeah, I can get a Jetta and put some Inkies on it or something. You know what I'm saying?
You get a 60,000 when Suburbans was 60,000. You
get a Bourbon, throw some Daytonas on it, and you are the man. You're the man. You good.
I still have a Bentley.
You know, so I'm not saying I'm past that. I like things, you know, but and quality, but I don't have the need to. I'm thinking about my grandchildren. I'm getting to the age now where I'm probably gonna be having grandchildren soon. So what seed do I plant today that by the time my grandchild is my age, not even 20, 40, they good. They don't got to worry about it because that seed's been planted. And that's all I try. Man, money is just it's like oil or gas, right? I don't think of it as an end. If you have too much of it, it's just gonna mildew somewhere, or it's gonna sit in the bank and deflate, right? So keep it moving. That doesn't mean plan for a rainy day, but my rainy day plan is, okay, I've got land that I can grow food on. I've got homes that are paid off, things of this nature, where if it goes bad, I can sell these things, or I can just live in it and work my little architecture job, or, wash cars in the driveway, whatever. And I'll have enough dough to pay my property taxes and keep my refrigerator full. But you gotta believe in you and put back in you. Like the mega rich, they make their money from investments, right? They don't even make their money from having ideas. They make their money from putting their bread on other people's ideas. Yeah, and we're fortunate that we're young enough to see these little, like I said, these little cracks in the matrix and be creative and be like, oh wow, I could put an internet cafe in this place that just got fiber optic this year, because everybody is not going to have personal home computers, et cetera, for a while. So if I just put this internet cafe, I'm gonna have money for at least for 5 or 6 years. At the end of that 5 or 6 years, hopefully I'll be able to buy a telecom company or a telephone company, right? And so that I'm the person selling them the smartphones, because now everybody's got a smartphone. So maybe the internet cafe is not popping anymore, but I'm still getting money because they want to chip their phones and get covers for their phones and upgrade and, you know, buy SIM cards and all that shit. So it's just pulling out perspective. Life is about perspective, right? You pull out far enough, you're gonna see everything. And I think that's what paper affords you to do, right? We're so caught up in the struggle and every day that we have these blinders on and we can only concentrate on what's right in front of us. And I think those with paper and those who are raised with paper, they have the ability to just, everything, it's like the Matrix, right? Everything slows down. I don't know why I keep on, I think I watched the Matrix the other day and now I understand that's like a real 90s, 2000 metaphor.
They're making another one. They're making another one.
You pull out far enough and you can see everything for what it is. And then you can see those little points where like, damn, if I just put 10 stacks on here, I'm gonna do this. I just came off a tour. I got 15. Okay, this 5 gonna have me cool for these. I got $1,500 rent. This 5 gonna have me cool for 3 months plus groceries. Let me put this 10 on here. Let me not buy this you know, this jet ski I wanted or these teeth I was finna flip. And treat yourself and all that, but investment, I mean, I treat it like it's a game, you know, like I try to play the world kind of like it's a simulation, but you know, treat the simulation like you the main character, you know, invest yourself. Don't treat it like you know, don't build up other people's dreams at the expense of your own, but also like be realistic. Like with rap, you know, I don't know if somebody wants to hear me at 60. They may, and that's cool, but I'm not gonna bank it on that as being how I make my money when I'm 60. So that's why I went into architecture, because you don't get good at architecture till you 60, 65 years old. Then finally you raw, you know? So I got 20 more years, 20, 30 or more years to look forward to getting better and improving and being good, so that in my older age, this is something where I don't got to fly around. I sit in my room and I draw, I sell it to people or I don't sell it to people. I build for myself and end up having more things of value. You know what I mean?
Real quick, Tajai.
I'm sorry, I don't want to rant.
No, that's good. It's good info, man.
There's a whole lot of
I'm writing it down.
Drop right there. So I just got to spin the record back real quick. And first of all, okay, so you got your degree in architecture, and then you are an gainfully employed architect. So tell us, how did you do that while maintaining a hip hop career? Because Oak went to school too. I haven't done anything that disciplined, but I've always I follow the same philosophy to the level of, I don't like having a lot of money to blow. If I get money, it needs to go somewhere where it's going to be a goose laying eggs.
Yeah.
It needs to be a goose laying eggs. And I need to just be able to pull from the egg and then maybe throw the goose some food, throw the goose some water. You know what I'm saying? Maybe give it a shot, antibiotics here, there, whatever. But I keep these eggs and I'm living off the eggs. So how did you achieve your degree in architecture while doing hip hop?
Okay, so when I graduated in 92. So I took a year off between 92 and 93 and recorded the album. So then I went to school the fall of 93, you know, like all my first rap money went to college. You know, so I went to Stanford for undergrad. My parents was like, "Blood, you going to school? You know, like you going to school, bro? Like, I don't care how Mr. Rap Man you are, you know, like you're going to school." So when I went to school, it was at the height of my popularity, and I did it. Fax machine came out. I was having people go take notes for me in class. You know what I'm saying, though? I get all my whole syllabus and try to do all my work while I was on campus. And then I was on tour with Tribe and De La and PharcydeTV and all this while I was in college. But it helped me realize, like, oh, there's 24 hours in a day. You know, I rap, what, an hour and a half, 2 hours when you include sound check. And I maybe need to sleep, you know, as a young man, 6 hours, 3.5 hours, you know? So the rest of the day, I got time to do whatever. So doing it the second time around with a family and a home and paper, you know, and all this, it wasn't even difficult. It's just like, okay, I'm only going to tour during the summer and during the winter break and spring break, or are we doing only weekend shows? And, you know, the weekend shows be good. Like that's when the clubs make the money. So let's say I book a show every weekend for a year. That's still I'm still at 100 shows. You know what I mean? Though, so let's say the 100 shows are 10 racks. Okay, I still 100 stacks I made. Okay, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with my family on the weekends, but I'm home during grad school every week. So it's not like I'm missing out on the family time and on raising my children and all that. So it's really not as difficult as people think. And now, like, I have a laptop. You know, you got to invest in your tools. So I bought a high-powered laptop and I print out my plans before I go on tour. But I'll be like, after we get back to the from sound check, or when we wake up in the morning, I get my little breakfast and whatever at the hotel cafe, and then I go design all day long till it's time to roll out. Then when they roll out, I make my phone calls and handle my little business since I'm on the phone, since I can't really do shit in the car. And then when we get to the hotel, you know, before sound check or whatever, I'm designing and uploading, and, you know, make sure you pay for some cloud storage and all that. But we have all these tools now where it's I'm probably, even when I was in undergrad, I probably was spending more time on my studies than cats who was at school, you know, chilling, partying, etc. I'm like, man, I'm getting paid to party. The rest of the time, let me handle my business, you know? And it makes the party part even more sweet, right? When I'm on tour and I finish a house or a restaurant that I'm drawing, then I'm like, ooh, it's going down. Let me hit that. You know what I'm saying? I might have to, you know, hit the weed or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, it's going down. But it's not difficult. You know,
you owe us a manual, man. You owe us something for people with short attentions.
I mean, that's really what it is, though. It's like, I got ADD, like diagnosed, etc. You know, and so all these things, I mean, it's to my detriment, but I will have my studio open, my design stuff open, iTunes open, social media, and I'm gonna do 15, 20 minutes of everything for 8 hours straight. And by the time I'm done, I've gotten it all done. I take my lunch at my desk, you know what I'm saying? I don't really go out and, you know, but there's enough time in a day to handle so much, you know. And I'm now, as an older man, really starting to understand the positive aspects of getting a good night's sleep, you know, drinking a glass of water before you go to bed, you know, not getting as loaded, making sure you got a glass of water when you wake up and wake your systems out, making sure I'm doing the proper sort of physical activities to maintain my boyish figure, you know, whatever. But I feel like I can do more now than ever. But that's also because I've built the skills up too. You know, if like when it's time to rap, I have 3 beats on, right? It's like the Tupac thing, right? Keep your 3 studios running. So I have 3 beats on. I might finish a verse to this because of my attention span, go work on a verse to something else, you know, take a phone call about some business and go back. But I don't think that it's multitasking. When I'm doing the individual thing, I'm 100% engrossed in that individual thing. And if I schedule it, it's even more so. You know, if I'm like, look, for these 3 hours, I'm drafting no matter what, then I don't get caught up with you know, Instagram or rapping or vice versa. But it's like going by a schedule, making sure you got 4 burners burning, but then you concentrate fully on whatever burner it is at the time, because you're never going to be effective trying to do all 4 at once, you know? So like I said, I 9 to 5, you know, the kids are homeschooling now, so it's different, but not so 9 to 5 really is work. Like I don't be trying to do no rap shit, none of that. I draft and take calls and deal with my clients. As soon as 5 comes, I do some physical activity just so because I sit down, and that's a death sentence, I think, for anybody. It's just always sitting down. So I do some physical activity, whether it's I teach jujitsu to kids and I take jujitsu classes for myself. And then after that, like this time is hip hop or hanging with my lady, cooking, you know, doing something though. Extracurricular. And usually creative. And then, you know, I try to lay it down. I mean, I get into bed probably by midnight. You know, we'll watch some Lovecraft Country or that Power Ghost. You know what I'm saying? No, something like I'm a regular person. You know what I'm saying? I do regular shit too. Or we'll go on a bike ride or a walk, you know, just to get out of the house because of COVID. But I think there's more than enough time, like 24 hours. Bill Gates had them same 24 hours.
those jewels, man. I feel like you was preaching right to me, man. Seriously, you like, yo, stop staying out so late, man. Get some sleep, man.
But that's part of what you do, though, right? I mean, part of what you do. You like a camera or a computer, right? So you got to intake them late nights and them little to build the jokes, right? Like you got to. Yeah, so it's part of what you do. So it's different. It's different than, like, I'm a rapper. I can just look at my phone, listen to other people's music, read some books, and then spit out what I need to spit. You know, for comedians, I feel like so much of what you have to do deals with human situations and human interactions that you got to be observing them interactions and having them interactions in order to then turn that into some funny shit. You can't just be in your house posted or reading hella books and shit like, oh, I came up with this joke. It just don't seem like that. Like, all the comedians I know, they be like people of the people. There's very few of them that are like hermits, and then they just come out and be funny, and then they go back to their little thing. Nah, you see them everywhere, and they got jokes there too, and then it just builds on top of that. So I'm not saying don't hang out late, but if you hang out late, man, drink that water before you go to sleep. Sleep in late. Get your eye masked so that when the sun come up, it don't wake you up. You see what I'm saying though? Like, and you know, because there's shit happening 9 to 11 a.m. anyways. You know, in that world. So sleep into 11 if you're gonna get in at 3. But take care of your chassis and do what's necessary to make sure that you can give it your 100%. I feel like every day I'll be giving like attacking the world, like, you know, like who's the guy? Not Ravishing Rick Rude. Who's the guy? Woo! Ric Flair. You feel what I'm saying? I'll be feeling like that every day, like, woo, let's go. You know.
No, real quick, I just want to add to your thing. You mentioned Hannibal.
Yeah.
Yeah, you was dropping some seeds. Hannibal, but my last name is Scipio.
Uh-huh.
A lot of people always ask me where I get that from, where I get that from. Some people even ask me, is it a stage name? Like, no, it's legit my last name. Scipio Africanus was the Roman general that defeated Hannibal.
Yeah, no, I've heard, now that you, yeah, exactly. So he's like, yeah, I'm on Hannibal's helmet right now. Yeah. but for real, I mean, I just feel like, dude, we this the same planet that the samurais and the knights at the round table and the pharaohs, like it's been rotating in the exact same way. They may have had different technology, but we got access to so much shit.
So much.
How can we not be great? And I think that, I didn't want to get to no racial shit like that. Like, come on, we the originals, like we have, all of us are all human beings. We have unbroken, for you to be here, you have an unbroken bloodline from the very first humans. So look how much shit is inside of you, what your ancestors, just your direct ancestors, let alone when you start going back, it's so much inside of you. Like there's a whole universe inside of you. Tap into that shit. And that, it might mean, some people use psychedelics, some people use meditation, whatever it is, get to it. And the earlier you get to it, like all I worry, when I look at my kids, I'd be like, why the fuck is you walking? You can fly. But if you don't tell them, if they don't know that they can fly, they just gonna walk around for a long time until they start realizing like, oh shit, I could really fly. And I'm an impatient person. And it's frustrating. One of the frustrating parts of having younger kids is trying to get them to take that leap and really fly. And I think that my mom did a fantastic job in letting us know that the potential that was inside of us and unlocking it through presenting us with certain things, through making us read, through, I didn't have TV till 6th grade. So I didn't, until I started going to school with white people, I didn't even know white people existed. Like, I just thought there was light-skinned black people, like I didn't understand that there was a, I didn't understand there was a racial like war or whatever you want to call it. There was all these issues because my mom was just like, that's not important for you to know right now. Right now, build your imagination, read these books and understand that the world is vast. And I hip hop, I think, and comedy too, like the arts are some of the ways that you tap into this long line and this long lineage of ancestors and bloodline and all these things. Yeah. And it opens up things like it refills us when a lot of things empty out our cups. So I'm fortunate that, and Hyro, I think we're fortunate that we had something to refill us when everything around us was like draining from our cups, and it still does to this day. I just dropped a single with Cool G Rap. I'm 45. Like I just dropped a single with Cool G Rap. I think he's 52. I think it's some of the illest rhymes either of us have kicked. And I'm like, I feel giddy and like a kid doing that. And I'm so happy that I have hip hop to even make me feel that way, because we're inundated and overexposed that nothing excites us anymore. You know what I'm saying? No, you watch porn, now you need 6 chicks and a horse to come in the room to really get you excited. You know what I'm saying? No, so it's the same. We're desensitized, right? But hip hop to me, when I hear like a Ill Kendrick verse or something raw by any Casual or something like that, it gives me that same feeling that it did when I heard Rapper's Delight or The Message or something. So I'm hella happy that I have something that refills my cup, and then that shit is free. Like it comes out of my body for free whenever I feel like it. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Top 5.
I mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Jeremy.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I mentioned this. We actually had Casual on. Was it? I don't even know. That was last year, huh? No, that was this year. I mentioned this to him, but I was gonna ask, are you aware that Eminem and Andre 3000 had an article about whenever they link up, they pretty much the main thing they geek out over is y'all lyrics.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what you thought of that.
That's the greatest honor, man. You think about Eminem and Andre 3000, arguably everybody's 2 favorite rappers. Most people's 2 favorite rappers, and us being some of their favorite rappers is an honor, because when we talk about, everybody uses this term culture and stuff, but when we talk about affecting culture and moving culture, the fact that we could even have participated in their greatness is awesome. You know what I'm saying? Right. And the fact that we all are still doing our thing, you know, from, I mean, you know, like Andre got shit. Like he might be the wandering flutes man right now.
You saw that.
but I'm saying, like, please believe he has, like, he's like Prince. He got music, you know, like
yeah.
Whether or not he'll ever put it out, that's on him. That's his prerogative. But I'm saying he got shit. Eminem got shit, you know. Hyro, we still got shit. So it's just great to be part of that whole thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it would be like you look at the greatness that is LeBron James, and you know how LeBron James probably feel about Kobe or Jordan, or you look at the greatness as Kobe and how Kobe felt about Jordan, and all the happiness and good times and just greatness that has come from their examples, just playing a game. Like to be one of those individuals that can inspire that level of sportsmanship. And I'm saying hip hop sportsmanship or just plain old hoop sport, whatever, is a great honor. It's almost a greater honor than people just liking my music, because when your peers are saying, "Hey, you were instrumental in the formation of this great shit that I did," that's like, damn, like, wow, I'm happy for you, and you know, and I'm happy for me too, and I'm happy to be part of it. So yeah, it's a great honor. I think that's one of the biggest accolades, period, because you know, your kids don't give, you know, like, nigga, you rap, dad, all right, you rap, I get it, okay, Hyro Day, yeah, you guys have a holiday, whatever. But then when they're like, oh, Eminem, you know, I've had so many people reach out over that had no idea. Now we always knew, you know, because they've never hidden it. You know, they've never been like standoffish or funny. They've always been like, yo, we fucks with y'all tough. You know, we met Eminem right before he came out to be in the Rap Olympics, and he opened for us in Detroit. You know, and then we heard him bust and everything, and he was like, yo, it cats is ill out there. I don't know. And we was like, man, you about to do your thing, dude. Like, don't worry. And this is like literally weeks before he moved out to LA and did the thing and was discovered by Dre. And he said him and Proof like really fuck with us tough. You know what I mean? So we've always known, but to hear it also being displayed in a forum that's a worldwide forum, you know, with the Rick Rubin thing and all that, it's great, because you sound like a madman when you say, you know, Eminem, we Outkast's favorite rappers, or Kanye, you know, Kanye really, you know, he's one of his favorite rappers, you know, and I'm talking to my kids or, you know, or other people, and they're like, how come we've never heard of you? How come we've never, where's your gold? Where's your Bentley? And I'm like, well, we a different kind of rapper, you know, you sound like a madman if they don't give you those accolades publicly, right? You just sound like, oh, Kelly, you Kanye's favorite group, huh? But, you know, when he gets on MTV and it's like, yo, I love these guys, you know, or when that, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling because you validated, and we wasn't looking for the validation. But that damn near makes it even sweeter, because it's like, I wasn't even looking for that. And damn, now I got radio contacting me, internet cats contacting me, new fans, etc. Just because, you know, and the music, fortunately or unfortunately, the music hasn't evolved in a way that it's so far different from what we were making in 93.
Right.
That, like, when kids discover us now, they don't, I really have fans that think I was born in 93. And that's crazy to me. But there's no content. They only see us as young men in the video. They were born in 93, so now they're 26. They got facial hair and all these things. So, you know, I'm bald like I was bald then. So they really don't get the concept, like, nah, yo, I was your age back then. So, but they listen to it like it's current. They're not listening to it like oldies, because it's not like, it's almost like how jazz is. You can listen to a Thelonious Monk record or something like that, or you know, anything, a Coltrane record, and you're not gonna be like, oh, this is old jazz. You're gonna be like, this is wow, this is mind blowing. You're not gonna feel like this sounds old, because they were, you know, they were so far ahead.
Right.
So tell me this, Tajai. We gonna wrap it up, and I just want to know this: your top 5 MCs.
Ooh.
You don't have to be in order. It does
Can I
not
do
have
10?
to be in order.
Top four, G-Rap, Rakim, Kane, KRS, any order. I'm 45, so those are my top four. I can't mix that up. And then I would say number 5, LL, probably LL.
That's what I thought you was gonna say. I should have guessed it.
Yeah. Like so
LL,
LL, G-Rap, Kane.
You cannot leave LL out of that list.
Yeah.
Sorry.
For me, that's me though. You know, LL, G-Rap, Kane, Rakim, and KRS.
That sounds about right.
If I had and all of them, one verse will make them number one. I look at it kind of like sports. So certain songs are like, remember that game when he did this or he did the behind the back dunk or whatever. So there's no, I wouldn't say who is number one. Kane for a long time was my favorite rapper, but like, can you put Kane ahead of G-Rap? Can you put Kane ahead of LL? You know, like how do you slice it? So that's my top 5. Rakim, G-Rap, Kane, KRS, LL.
What projects you want us to look out for? I've seen you in that super dope DJ producer, Breakbeat Lou. I've seen you guys pop up in the same space several times on social media in the last couple of few. You got anything you want to share with us about that project?
Okay, yeah. Well, me and Breakbeat Lou are working on a record called The Hop. So when we grew up on hip hop, it like you knew you might fight at the club, but for sure you knew you was finna dance. Period. I don't, you know, like all that, the gangsters was dancing too. You know what I'm saying? Though everybody was like, man, we finna go down to the because I mean I'm younger than it's before the club. Well, I'm a kid. So we going to this party. It's finna be chicks there. We finna groove. You knew you brought a towel because you knew you was finna be sweating and everything. So the hop is really me and Breakbeat Lou saying, hey, let's put the movement back into hip hop. It doesn't all need to be head nod music right now. I mean, they got rap now with no drums and shit where I'm just like, I like it, but it's not something that I'm a cut a rug to. So we want to make some music. Like we got a joint on there with Lizette Melendez, like a freestyle sound and stuff. I got some hip house on there, just more up tempo. So, but that's coming later. The next project I'm dropping is called Black Tech, and it's me and the architect. And so we've dropped 2 singles off of that. The last single, the remix has G-Rap on it. I got some super special features on there that I don't want to jinx by speaking about too early, but you'll be surprised who's on the record. And so Black Tech is next, and then I'm gonna come out with The Hop.
Okay.
Nah, that's tight.
And then I got the Rap Noir movie. So I'm making a movie. I got an artist named Fam Cirque. He's got a record called Killing Me. It's an R&B record. And then I've got Rap Noir. So we're gonna make a film noir, sort of silent film where our albums are the score. And I'm recording that.
If you need a SAG actor, in the film, you know. I'm SAG.
You want to come to the town? Yeah, we're filming next weekend, but it's 3 days, 26 vignettes, and we're trying to really do something visually stunning, but that you can get into these records and look at them in a different perspective. I think a lot of times people now don't just listen to music, they watch music. So trying to give them what they want and make something that hopefully will get on Adult Swim or Showtime or Netflix, just to have some kind of a way for people to connect to the record besides just listening to it. Since I didn't realize this, but young people don't just listen to albums. Like they don't even know who they're listening to a lot of times. They'll they put a playlist on, they'll play that playlist over and over, but they'll never even worry about who the artist is. I'm more like, if I like a song on a playlist, I'm gonna find the artist, then I'm gonna get all their albums, then I'm gonna listen to the albums, not even mixed up, like as separate projects. But that you gotta meet people where they are.
Nah, tight. So anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want us to peep?
Oh, let me see. It was something I like that new Sow Rock record, Sharecropper's Daughter. I think that's a really dope record. Latif, my home from Latirix, he's got a record called Roots and Tings, where it's just like some new kind of music. It's just a mixture of all kind of stuff. Casual, make sure you get that Big Head Science, and he got another record coming. Yeah, that Big is crazy. Casual to me is the best rapper. You feel what I'm saying though? Like I don't think nobody can see Kaz right now. I mean, he's got a rap. He's got a song called Duara or Tuara in Metu Netter. So he's rhyming in hieroglyphics, and he's literally rhyming in hieroglyphics. You know what I'm saying though? Like, wow. It's just he's on another level. So that Casual, Big Head Science, A+ Chamber Games. Opio and Breakbeat Lou got a new record coming out, man. I don't even want to talk about what's going on with them because I don't know when they're rolling it out. But
Yeah.
man, Ope's catalog to me is one of my favorite catalogs in hieroglyphics. Like his comic book series, you know, separate from Souls of Mischief, like he ain't made no missteps, man. He has great music. And
Vulture's Wisdom, man.
Yeah, Vulture's Wisdom, that Triangulation Station. Like I really like how Opio stuff's been coming out. And hopefully we're working on a new Hyro record, man. You know, like the whole clique we hear is COVID. We might as well rap. Come on, rap and vote.
Get that Andre 3000 feature.
I want to just catch Dre in real life, sit down with him, and see where his head's at. But I know for a fact that he has some shit, like a lot of shit. And really, I think he just needs to get to the level where he's comfortable with it. And I think that's with a lot of greats. You're your own worst critic, right? He's his own worst critic. And I respect that. And I don't think that anything should come out before its time. You know, like Prince had a vault full of music. And what didn't come out, I'm not sure if it needs to come out. You know, that doesn't mean if somebody had access to it, I wouldn't listen to it. You know, but if the artist didn't want it to come out, it's like, I respect that, you know, and it doesn't have to come out posthumously. I think we're turning into content vultures, kind of. Yeah, we just need more content. Wow, more content, and we're consuming it, but we're just getting fat. We're not working out with it and lifting with it and giving it time for it to give it nourishment, you know. But I know I would love to do a song with Dre 3000. You know what I'm saying, though? I would love to do a song with him and Kendrick. If I could do a track with him and Kendrick, man, come on, that's bucket list shit.
That's powerful spells you casting right there. That's powerful stuff you putting out to the universe, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Dope. And you, Jeremy, anything you want to shout out before we wrap it up?
I would say on the 17th, October 17th, I'm going to be I'm hosting a show at the American Barbershop. It's got some dope comics. It's like one of the more higher profile shows I've been on all year, really. But yeah, that'll be it's like it's a show called Comedians You Should Know and a show called Classics. They're combining to put on this live stand-up COVID safe comedy show that I'll be hosting. Some names like Jermaine Fowler. Anyway, some dope ass people will be on there. Anyway, check me on that.
Cool. Well, no, man, I want to thank you, Tajai, for giving me some of your time fresh out of class, man.
Yeah, I got beat up today. In front of a lot of people, too. It's rough.
Hey, you man enough to admit it, though. That's the first part, you know what I'm saying, to hopping the hurdle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, man, appreciate you, dude. I'm glad you're doing this, Schmooche. I think a lot of cats don't know how hard you be rocking behind the scenes, but you're a humble dude. You keep it on the humble, so I'll let you stay you know, in the shadows, getting your bread, you know? Shit.
Hey, man. As long as I can reach back and touch you every time one of these little projects drop so we can have because really it's like, this should have probably been like a 3 or a 4-part convo because it's just so much with the history and everything, you know what I'm saying? But no, I appreciate it, but I'll leave it on this, dude. You need to do something for people with low attention span. Help them get motivated to just the first couple of steps in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking about trying to write something, but I'm not where I want to be. You know, I'm happy where I am, but I'm not where I want to be. But there's no time I think that you're ever going to be like, yes, this is the time to start writing. So I'm trying to do something, and it'll maybe have autobiographical components to it, but it'll be more so a manual. You know, because I feel like my life, like, dude, I'm a guy from Oakland. Like, you know, I live probably 30 blocks from where I grew up. You know, like, so my life, I've done some cool things, but I think that the process behind it is more important than the actual things and events, you know? And if I can help people with my process, because like I was diagnosed with ADD. I still graduated from Stanford and Berkeley, you know, with honors, and I've been able to, you know, run several businesses and do all that. So I feel like I've used the ADD to my advantage. So maybe, like you said, it is something where steps to get the ball rolling. And then once the ball is rolling, the momentum will take you where you need to go.
Cool. Well, no, man, stay safe, Tajai, and I'll reach back out to you.